In the faraway kingdom of Sheila Lancaster, she was found guilty of arson and the murder of the crown prince. The hatred and slander from everyone around her led to her death sentence. Despised by all, the girl was taken into custody, but deep down she knew she hadn't killed anyone. As a descendant of a noble family, Sheila lost the Lancaster name. Her actions were unforgivable to the Duke. Seeing her father and sister in the palace gave the girl hope to prove her innocence, no matter what it took. Believing in her family's good intentions, Sheila noticed the terribly distressed look on her sister's face. Jared Lancaster admitted he had failed in raising his daughter, thereby bringing grief upon them all. In that moment, Sheila, whose life was anything but a fairy tale, felt her heart shatter into pieces inside. The filthy girl was sentenced to death, accused of sleeping with the prince and then killing him. It's a huge relief to everyone that she'll be executed tomorrow, and justice will finally be served. They wouldn't even let her explain, to say who was really behind the prince's murder, who tortured him. Shackled in these awful restraints, Sheila couldn't use her magic, but she had to find a way out. Daisy brought hope for rescue into the prison walls. She couldn't leave her sister alone. She told her sister to get out of here while she and their father searched for the real culprit. Then Sheila could come back. Daisy felt responsible for her sister's imprisonment, but it was all to make the killer drop his guard. Being near her sister made the girl, wrongly accused of murder, feel a little better. Sheila would never have done something like that, never dared to kill her beloved sister's fiancé. Her only fear was that Daisy would never want to see her again, believing the stupid lies. But no matter what, they're inseparable sisters, and the Duke's eldest daughter will never abandon her little sis. Giving her the key to freedom, Daisy said it wouldn't be long before the real criminal was found. Before making her escape, the brave girl told her sister not to worry, that they'd definitely see each other soon, and they would never be apart again. Sheila trusted her sister. She trusted her more than anyone. Soon, rumors started spreading that Sheila, the sinner, used dark magic to wound her older sister, a lady of the ducal palace, and then ran. Desperate, the girl couldn't believe her sister had actually said she was the one who hurt her. Even so, Daisy doubted until the very end that her younger sister had done it, thinking it must have been someone else. In the name of the royal family, Prince Arthur vowed to stop the evil deeds of the one steeped in dark sorcery. With all her might, Sheila desperately tried to convince everyone of her innocence, but she was quickly apprehended. The first prince believes she's a dark sorceress with powerful magic, but luckily, the source of the evil was neutralized beforehand. And the dark magic in Lancaster's chest proves it. Looks like they're not just taking the girl's magic for no reason. Arthur decided to give that source of magic to Miss Daisy, believing that only such a conscientious mage could wield such power. At first, the elder Lancaster thought she couldn't take it, but feeling the source in her hands, she suddenly went silent. Even then, Sheila's only hope is that her sister knows she's innocent. Of course, Daisy trusts her. She's sure her poor little sister didn't do it. And of course, she wasn't the one who burned the crown prince alive. This is all her power, because the girl loves her older sister very much, and now Daisy dreams of possessing her. In that moment, looking at her sister's face, so confident that she'd get her, only one question popped into Sheila's head. She can't understand why they're treating her like this, because she and Daisy are sisters. Claiming the eldest Lancaster daughter was a respectable girl, Arthur declared that's why she enabled such a lowlife. He doesn't need to wait until tomorrow. As the crown prince, he's going to execute the witch right now. Despised by everyone as the illegitimate daughter of a noble family, she's just a stain on the Duke's reputation to everyone around her. Facing pure brutality, an innocent girl stared down death, branded a dark witch. The full weight of everyone's hate and judgment crashed down on her. They all wanted to see her burned alive. Fate dealt Sheila a cruel and tragic end. She was condemned to the flames as a witch. Smoldering in the fateful fire, she only wondered, would this corrupt her? Could they steal her power? It's terrifying to know you have to lie just to survive. A girl destined to be defiled and burned to ashes refuses to die. If she could start over, she wouldn't be so stupid and naive. She'd make them all pay for what they did. She'd been told long ago that there was no good in people, but Sheila didn't believe it. Granting the girl a chance at freedom, like an angel incarnate, the mistress sent her to finish what she'd started. Miss Lancaster had never felt so strange, but when she opened her eyes, she didn't recognize where she was. Looking around, she realized this was the Crown Prince's palace. Sheila was absolutely certain it had burned to the ground, and the Crown Prince was dead. Trying to move, she noticed heavy chains on her wrists. It hit her like a ton of bricks. She'd gone back 3 years. That's what was going on. They drugged her and dragged her here to, you know, with the crown prince. But he saw her and kicked her to the curb. The duke's second daughter ended up in the crown prince's bed, trying to get it on with her sister's fiancé. After that, the crown prince banned Sheila from Magic Academy, and her fiancé, the prince, broke off their engagement. But she wasn't sweating it, because she wasn't even into him, so she wasn't heartbroken. Her being able to go back, it's like some crazy magic, reaching back through time. Sheila got a raw deal, and she died. And they stole her magic, but it's like God gave her a do-over. The second the door swung open and that girl walked in, Sheila pretended to be asleep. The eldest Lancaster daughter couldn't let there be two magic users in the family. Without a shred of guilt, she slipped her sister something nasty, setting her up to take the fall. Daisy smugly announced that the Magic Academy didn't want some illegitimate kid studying alongside her, so she ordered the mudblood to never set foot in the academy again, starting today. Sheila never thought that was the reason behind it all. Now it's clear her sister's been plotting this for ages. Well, she can't just sit back. Time to settle the score. After all, she's already dead. She's in the afterlife now. Sheila is a devil who's about to make their lives a living hell. They've got payback coming, big time. She's back to the day she was framed for seducing the crown prince 3 years ago. Daisy doesn't get to call the shots this time, because the hands that once begged now hold all the power. According to ancient alchemy, one substance can be transformed into another. If you cast a transformation spell, you can create a new item, and the creators can rise to high positions. 3 years ago, the crown prince snatched up almost all the creators, and the Lancaster family went downhill a year later. Now that they're in a tight spot, the dukes decided to create magical weapons to revive the family. He claims all magical weapon masters are under the crown prince's thumb. Sheila's the only creator in their clan, but creating takes a ton of magical power. Even though it seems like a huge burden for her, she agreed to make some magical weapons. She's such a good daughter to her parents that she even promised to work hard for the family's sake. Only now does Sheila realize how naive she was. She thought they were her family, but they were just using her kindness. Stupidly, she thought of them as family. But turns out, she was just a tool. But now, she's got a shot at rewriting her story, cherishing the opportunities God's given her. Realizing this second chance is a gift beyond measure, Sheila decided to use her smarts to change the future. Absolutely certain she wouldn't be the one to die this time, she bolted from the room, screaming she was being targeted. The lords froze in the hallway, seeing this strange girl in the Crown Prince's palace. Now, the meeting with Crown Prince Li Yu was finally happening. Claiming he was trying to get rid of her, Sheila took off like a shot, running for her life. That was so out of line, the lords were stunned she'd say that to the Crown Prince. But Li Yu told them to leave her be. He recognized her as the Duke's second daughter and had no idea what she was up to. Plus, he ordered someone to tail her, just to make sure she didn't start spreading rumors. The Crown Prince's servant bolted after the girl, but she was already outside, begging for help. Suddenly, her foot slipped on the steps. Sheila went down hard and cried out that someone was trying to off her. The crowd started buzzing, confused. People didn't know her family, but figured she'd been robbed. Just then, the Duke's carriage rolled up, and the young lady was seriously surprised to see her there. Seeing her sister, Daisy was totally clueless about what she was doing there, or so she pretended. Seeing Sheila in that state, she probably thought her little scheme had paid off big time. So the younger sister decided to play along, confident that no one would believe Daisy was trying to frame her. Daisy figured the mudblood running away was a win-win. It'd be even better if more people saw her freaking out. She pretended to be worried about her sister when Sheila said someone was trying to kill her. The second His Highness, the Crown Prince, showed his face. The girl screamed that he was trying to murder her. As Daisy calmed her sister, she realized something was seriously off. After thinking for a moment, she asked the Crown Prince to forgive her sister, saying the girl had always looked up to him. She claimed their engagement could be called off, and her sister wouldn't be able to get into the Magic Academy. Hearing that the younger Lancaster daughter admired him, Li Yu just thought it was a joke. So Daisy's sister won't get into the academy, and the engagement's off. The prince ended the conversation right there. Suddenly, Sheila had a light bulb moment. She knew a way to prove they were trying to do her dirty. Instantly, the crowd erupted, accusing her of being illegitimate, but she really did have a way. Despite the uproar, she showed off a camera, a magical device she'd created herself. She'd made it back home, but hadn't used it yet. The camera was supposed to record the circumstances of the attempt on her life. When it came out that Daisy was behind it, tears welled up in Sheila's eyes. She couldn't believe it was true. As the eldest daughter of Lancaster, she was wondering how her little sister managed to drag her into this mess. There's no denying it now. Sheila just laid the truth bare for everyone. This is nothing compared to what she's been through. At least her sister's alive and kicking. In front of everyone, Daisy was accused of trying to murder her own sister. She lost the people's trust. Suddenly, Duke Lancaster arrived. He heard his daughter had offended the prince, so he decided to apologize. The fact that the old fox rushed over so fast made the prince realize this was definitely the Duke's family's doing. Sheila's more than certain her dad only came because his eldest daughter got into hot water. Accepting that his daughter screwed up, Jared can't lose face. He promised to teach them some manners. Furthermore, he agreed to take in all the homeless kids and give them a new life at the Lancaster orphanage. To restore his daughter's reputation, the Duke even offered people the chance to come and adopt one of the children. All he wants is to bleed people dry, and knowing that, Sheila can't even imagine how the kids at the orphanage are living. The Lancaster family is going to crumble sooner or later, and in a year, the big families will start fighting over the Makers. The Makers are in the Crown Prince's hands, and the Lancasters are lagging behind. The Duke doesn't have any outstanding Makers. That's why his youngest daughter decided to leave home early. She won't let herself be used, and she'll be striking out on her own soon. That evening, the maid confessed that the master gave her that medicine bottle, and she didn't touch what was inside. But Lady Daisy doesn't think she's guilty, because she figures she used too little. Sheila won't be able to go to the academy anymore, so she can't be a Maker, and definitely not more talented than her sister. In the end, their father punished them and locked them up. The school year starts in a few months, so it won't affect Daisy too much. Sheila needs money to sort out the whole academy thing, but she decided to think about that later. The place where she lives is way out in the sticks, so she can mess with time outside without anyone noticing. Up until now, she never realized how much her place sucked. Total garbage, wouldn't even pawn it. Weird thing is, she didn't have this necklace before. Solid gold, too. Sheila decided to hold onto it for now, just in case she needs to hawk it later. This necklace feels so familiar. But right now, finding someone to help her get into the academy is what matters. Afterwards, Sheila went to the palace to meet His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince. The servant didn't expect her to show up after what went down earlier, but the prince ordered him to bring her in. Still, if she's planning anything against the Crown Prince, the servant's not letting her through. At last, the second lady of the Lancaster house has arrived. She has no reason to go after him. She's here earlier than expected, but Li Yu offered her a seat. Sheila's actually sorry about what happened before, and swears it was all a misunderstanding. After hearing that, the prince realized she wasn't just there to apologize. That's right. The girl actually approached the prince with a proposal for collaboration. Knowing that His Highness needs a master weaponsmith, Sheila wants to enroll in the academy. Surprisingly, Li Yu agreed. He's short one person for his team in the tournament. It's the academy's annual magic tournament. The winner gets a title and land. The Crown Prince can help with a letter of recommendation to the academy, but he gave her 3 days to create a magical artifact. Only 3 days is a seriously tough task, but Sheila guaranteed that he'd have the magical artifact in 3 days. She snuck back home from the side yard when it was already super late, risking getting caught. Noticing movement in the bushes, the guards immediately ordered the stranger to show themselves. But a moment later, there was no one there, as if they'd just imagined it. "It's the necklace, man! It's gotta be drawing people in. This is seriously messed up. Some dude's got a girl by the hands, and she's begging him to let go. Turns out they're inside his necklace. He's like the artifact's spirit or something. This ridiculously hot guy told her to freeze, that she's his slave now." He grabbed her by the neck, practically claiming her right then and there. But Sheila just figured he was nuts. She decided he's the spirit of the necklace, and even though he's a whole person, he can't get out on his own. If this god wants out, she can't really help him, but the way he's acting is just gonna make things harder. The fact that she called him a spirit just cracked him up. He told her not to get them mixed up. Comparing a young master like him to those lowlifes, she needs to remember a few things. As his servant, Sheila needs to know her master's name is Asius. He's an ancient deity, but the legends say all the gods vanished a long time ago. Looking at him, the heroine has a hard time figuring out how he ended up in her necklace. She's seen that violet glow gently surrounding his eyes somewhere before, but she can't place it. Like delicate butterflies slicing through the air, his hair sways in the wind, and his violet eyes have this crazy look. Just then, Sheila heard someone calling her, trying to wake her up, and everything around her was enveloped in magical dust. A magical sphere appeared in this otherworldly space. It's like some kind of master-servant agreement. Wanting to do so much more, the girl realized she couldn't enter into a contract with him. She hadn't gotten revenge on the people who ruined her before, hadn't lived her new life after going back 3 years. Having gotten a chance to rewrite history, she met this extraordinary deity who changed everything. Gathering all her courage, forcing herself to decide, the girl pushed the strange being away from her, using magical light. And just like that, she ripped up his one-sided deal that would have trapped her working for Asius forever. Doesn't matter if he's a god or whatever, he ain't breaking the will of a scorned woman who was betrayed by everyone and burned at the stake. Even though she's just a human, Asius had to admit, she's blown away all his expectations. A light magic attribute is one rare thing, but with her current strength, all she can do is hold him back for a while. The ancient god's sure that when she's all out of juice, he'll still get her to sign that contract. But Sheila wasn't so sure, 'cause she knew what she was capable of, even staring down power like that. Looks like Asius hasn't figured out the situation he's in. Her magic might be weak, but taking out a weakened soul like his? That'll be a piece of cake. Forged by the fate of a cursed witch, Sheila's ready to hear whatever he's got to say. Turns out she's calling the shots here. Either way, Asius might have been a god once, but now he's just a tired, worn-out soul. For Miss Lancaster, signing this contract is all upside, but a master-servant deal is a no-go. Sheila can't afford to become a servant, so instead of losing out completely, she offered 2 options. Even though Asius would rather kick the bucket than be anyone's slave, she proposed he serve her. The second option is they strike a deal as equals and cut all ties afterward. Life's a gamble from the start. If Sheila's scared Asius will vanish, and she'll bite the dust, she can't fight her enemies. Plus, after her power increases, and he won't disappear. Only those words convinced the ancient deity to agree. Then, before sealing the contract, at the girl's request, Asius left her an incredible gift. Its lost magic, forbidden art, vanished with the gods themselves. The first ancestor can help boost the girl's magic power and become a god. He wants her to resurrect him. He asked her not to ask unnecessary questions. First, Sheila needs to get a handle on the magic she's got. Holy crap, this is insane! That little sorceress has never seen a time rewind spell this complicated. With her current power, Sheila can only freeze time for a split second, and in a small area, but her power's gonna grow fast. When she figured Asius with his power sent her back, he said he doesn't mess with that kind of thing. In that case, no need to ask more questions. It's time to seal the deal. An unbreakable bond, binding them as one, enveloped them in magic. They're about to sign a contract as equals. Blood, as proof of their devotion to each other, until death do they part. He's born, she's born, he dies, then she dies, he's born, she's born, she dies, then he fades away. Finally, the contract with the ancient deity is complete, and Sheila is now back in the normal world. Asius's voice in her head told her to call him if she needed him. Equals can communicate through thoughts. The agreement is in effect, and their lives are now linked. The necklace that held the first ancestor has transformed. It's now a ring. You can use it like a necklace, channeling magic into it, and storing inanimate objects and living beings. Sheila's magic level's too low for that. She can only choose when she surpasses her current rank. And to do that, she needs to increase her magical power, complete the Crown Prince's task, and then get into the academy. 16 years ago, Sheila's mom couldn't stay in her life anymore. She didn't have much time left, but all she hoped for was that her daughter would live a happy life. Before she passed, the woman left their family's sacred artifact for her daughter to protect. Sheila's burdened with breaking the curse that prevents their family from surviving past 19 and stopping her father from finding her. She had no parents, and since then, she grew up alone in the forest. Until one day, her father showed up, and Sheila learned she belonged to the Lancaster dukedom. It was an emotional meeting. Her father accepted the girl as his daughter and introduced her to his older sister, Daisy. Sheila was as naive as a kid, trusting them. But to them, like Daisy, she was just the illegitimate child. During her second year at the Duke's estate, she awakened her magic. Daisy was super impressed that her sister could use alchemy skills, since light magic is so rare. The warm smiles they gave Sheila were the same kind you'd give a little pet you were eager to catch. But the truth was, Daisy wanted to steal her power. Lady Lancaster will destroy all this fakeness soon enough. She'll take them down, those hypocrites, and anyone who tried to hurt her. Now she understood that at the Crown Prince's mansion, her sister hadn't actually meant to harm her. Daisy doesn't see anything wrong with that. She's not even mad about the misunderstanding. So, Sheila asked to go outside to pick out a gift for her sister as a peace offering for the ceremony day. Her father thinks apologizing to Daisy at the ceremony wouldn't hurt. His eldest daughter, though, said that lifting the punishment so soon wasn't a good idea. All the nobles will be there that day, so the Duke's planning to clear everything up to protect the duchy's reputation. Sheila was totally down to apologize to her sister, if it meant getting her punishment lifted. She's really looking forward to her sister's coming-of-age ceremony and is sure Daisy will never forget the present. Soon after, the Duke's eldest daughter came to his office to talk about how weird all this seemed to her. Thing is, Sheila's not the same person she used to be, and she's not going to listen to the family in the future. Lancaster is the family name, and Jared's the head, so refusing to obey orders would be considered a betrayal. After the coming-of-age ceremony, he's planning to make Sheila Daisy's personal alchemist. He plans to give Daisy all the magical weapons Sheila makes, so she can inherit the title. Sheila's her only sister, and she'll take good care of her. Aetius figures that ugly blonde sister of hers is nothing more than a top-tier mage. Right now, Sheila's just a 2-star junior mage, so she'll bide her time. But once she levels up, she's gonna make them all pay. The first ancestor would have said whoever messed with her should be taken care of, and he'd be happy to help. But she told him to stay out of it. She's gonna handle this herself. You can find all sorts of magical stuff at Paladin's Crossroads. In her past life, Sheila came here and made bank, 'cause she's a creator. But right now, she's flat broke. Suddenly, she spotted this weird boutique for special items, but only nobles can go inside. But right next to it, there's a junkyard recycling place. That's her chance to score a fortune. Intrigued by what's on offer, Sheila decided to check out what might catch her eye. Suddenly, a lady from some fancy family spotted her and even told her brother to take a look. That's the Daisy family's little monster. She's got some nerve showing her face after what she did to your sister. She's acting like nothing happened, even though everyone knows what went down at the Crown Prince's mansion. The angry noblewoman was about to blow, but her brother stopped her, reminding her they were there to get Daisy presents. Today, this lady's gonna teach that low-class trash a lesson for Daisy. Some pigs just belong in the mud. After looking at almost everything on display, Sheila's interest was piqued by one particular item. The shopkeeper sees her as a mark, someone who can't handle her own business. That noblewoman can't let some illegitimate daughter, who tried to get with the prince, just walk around like she owns the place. A crowd gathered because of the commotion. Finally, a showdown between the Duke's illegitimate daughter and the Viscountess. Surprised that the Viscount's daughter, that human garbage, volunteered for the trash heap, Sheila decided to help out and see what she's worth. Being called that by such a nobody enraged the noblewoman, and she vowed to tell Daisy everything. Sheila figures that girl's got such a nasty mouth, spewing nothing but garbage, that she mistook her for trash. Besides, the Viscount's estate is right in front of the Duke's, and that could be seen as a major diss to the dukedom. Hearing that kind of trash talk directed at her, the Viscountess couldn't take the disrespect and decided to get even. To show the Viscountess how to really throw a punch, Sheila demonstrated her best shot. She did it, hoping the aristocrat would learn the proper way to do things. Insulted and humiliated in front of everyone, the Viscount's daughter immediately told her brother to step in. But the kid just reminded her, yet again, that they were there to pick out the best gift for Daisy, and they couldn't waste any time. Deciding that Daisy deserved the absolute best, Amy made up her mind to go get the gift first. Before leaving, she said Sheila only deserved to buy garbage and told her to pick out a good gift for her sister. Amy's heading to a shop with high-end stuff that a commoner like Sheila could never afford in a million years. According to Miss Lancaster, only a fool would gloat after getting hit. There's nothing to be happy about here. Out of all the junk on display, a magical beast egg caught her eye, buried in a pile of trash. And that's when she realized this clueless dude really had no clue what he was selling. Planning to buy everything he had, the Duke's daughter offered him 10 copper coins for the lot. For just 10 coins, she snatched up a fortune, stuffing all the junk into her ring. After that, she decided to hit up the magic tower, rent a room for an hour, and turn all that junk into gold. The magic tower is available for junior, intermediate, and senior mages, offering rooms with magical elements. It helps with creating stuff using alchemy, while keeping everything private and sealed off. Sheila needs a basic room for 1 hour to use a creation spell. The service costs 5 coins. They gave her a card and told her to turn left and pick any room. Okay, safe room's active for 1 hour, with a magic shield so nobody knows what our girl's up to in here. Alchemy's the lifeblood of every merchant, and Lady Lancaster cracked its code right before she kicked the bucket. If metal and stone react with the gold element, she can turn them straight into gold coins. Money, status, power. That's what the Lancaster family banks on. And the eldest daughter's about to get a whole lot more. That clink of gold coins is so sweet. It makes you forget all your troubles. The special items shop wanted $1,000 for a fancy ornament with precious stones. Andre's right. A-rank magic items go for 500 gold, but these earrings are S-rank. High society types gotta know how rare these things are. The owner originally wanted to auction them off, but they already had enough stuff, so they ended up in the shop. Andre pointed out we only brought 600 gold, so he suggested we pick an A-rank item instead. Amy, dead set that Daisy would love this gift, asked her brother to run home and grab the rest of the cash. Doubt crept into the guy's mind. If he refused, more trouble. Plus, 1,000 gold was a year's worth of earnings for them. In exchange, Andre made his sister promise she wouldn't cause trouble and would stop bullying Sheila. Just as he was about to leave, the bell jingled. The Duke's other daughter strolled into the shop. They seemed to recognize each other, so Lady Sheila asked the young man to step aside. Amy thought this country bumpkin hadn't seen anything, so she definitely couldn't afford anything here. Ignoring the glares of her haters, Sheila couldn't resist and decided to buy the expensive jewelry. The young man reminded her again that the earrings cost 1,000 gold and suggested the lady look at something else. But the price didn't faze the young sorceress one bit. She dumped a whole mountain of gold coins on the counter to pay for it. Seeing how much money she had, Amy was totally stunned, and the thought popped into her head that the second prince must have given it to her. Word on the street is the second prince is sweet on Daisy, so things are getting way too complicated. So, to get to the bottom of it, Amy went right at the country bumpkin, grilling her about where she stole all that cash. She even told the shopkeeper not to sell her anything, because she's supposedly the Duke's kid from some side action. So, getting hit with all those accusations, Sheila figured the Viscountess must have some dirt on her. She didn't even want to waste her breath on some airhead like Amy, so she just asked the guy to help her wrap the gift. No way was this aristocrat gonna let those earrings slip through her fingers, so she planted herself right in the middle of things. But first, Sheila asked her about a deposit or payment, betting she didn't have either. Just then, Andre walked into the store, totally confused by all the shouting he heard outside. Turns out, this miss just bought a pair of S-tier earrings. For Andre, this is awesome news, since it's half his treasure gone, so he offered to help her pick out something else. Amy was bleeding from the nose and just had to have those earrings, so she threw a total tantrum like a little kid in front of everyone. Just one cold look from Andre was enough to shut his sister up instantly. He offered a sincere apology for all the trouble they'd caused. Compared to Amy, this young man seemed like a very reasonable person to Miss Lancaster. Like he was used to his sister's fits, he told her to go to another shop, or he wouldn't buy her anything at all. Defeated, the girl left. But not before she gave that low-down, gold-digging nobody a piece of her mind. Sheila just stood there and took the insults, even though the Viscountess promised to make her life a living hell. At that moment, she was just wondering how Daisy managed to hook up with such a brown-nosing simpleton. Nevertheless, her item is finished, and she also received a pass to the Chamber of Commerce auction. The Duke's second daughter was very grateful and politely thanked the young man for his efforts with a gift. This is a grade B magic item with video recording. This second Sheila's definitely going to be a big shot someday. In the Magic Tower, such a graceful young miss caught everyone's eye with her extraordinary vibe. She's back again to grab a room, but this time it's for high-level light magic users only. Sheila needs a room with no time limit, and she even provided a card so the manager can cover the expenses. A gold card from the Imperial Bank, which is why the girl's room is on the top floor. The top floor of the tower is 8,000 meters up, and they use teleportation to get there. The purest elements are gathered there, and every second costs a fortune. This is the only room in the Magic Tower designed for high-level light mages. Sheila's got a super rare magic type. The purple teleportation circle leads down, and the red one goes up. Finally, time to check out the room of the Magic Tower's VIP. It's hidden away like the Holy of Holies. Light just exploded everywhere, reaching up to the freaking sky. Lady Lancaster closed her eyes, feeling the power surging inside. Being here, she figured she'd let the egg soak up some magic too, give it a shot at hatching. An insane torrent of magic light shot upwards in 1,000 beams, bathing the room in magical sunlight. The rules say, choose the elements of light, let them flow through your veins, break them down, and only then will they become your power. Perfecting magic is only possible for kids who awakened their magic source super young. Everyone's magic is different: water, fire, earth, air, darkness, and light. 6 magic attributes in total. For generations, the heads of the Lancaster family have been water mages. Daisy's up next to inherit the title. Her attribute is ice, a transformed element of water, You can't sleep on her power. Andrea, Daisy's mom, comes from a well-known family of mages. With both her and her father being archmages, Daisy was born with talent, and now she's a top-tier 1-star mage. Sheila's a low-level 2-star mage, so now her mission is to level up, and fast. Glowing from head to toe, she's pouring every ounce of her power into this, transforming more and more magic. Smashing through the barrier, she's pushing past her limits so her skills can peak. But even then, Sheila knew it wasn't enough. Not even close. She was still 4 stars behind Daisy, and that drove her to do the impossible, to push even harder, lifting off the ground and reaching for unlimited power. All that intense effort was interrupted by Aetius, who ordered her to stop immediately. He said Sheila had reached the peak of the low-level mage tier, and she'll still be able to improve in the future. But for now, all he's asking is that she stop and continue next time. After all, she'll have plenty of time to improve her skills. But for now, she should stop absorbing the elements. Aetius was dead certain that her body couldn't handle that overwhelming power anymore. But Daisy's coming-of-age ceremony is only a couple of days away, and in just a month, the Magic Academy will be opening its doors to students. So Sheila thinks being a top-tier junior mage isn't enough. She's got to push herself to the limit. The stronger she is, the better her chances of winning. She can't let this opportunity slip away. Miss Lancaster has to seize this moment and come out on top, no matter what it takes. But seeing her suffer chasing something impossible, Aetius can't just stand by. He feels he has to stop her from going too far. Sheila might be able to heal wounds, but the ancient god is sure she can't endure this kind of pain. Speaking of pain, Miss Lancaster already went through the ringer once, because the Crown Prince found a source of dark magic. So she's not afraid of the pain. She's just terrified of becoming dead meat again. So Aetius decided to help her boost her magical abilities. He planned to reshape the elemental power with his magic, and told her to follow him, but she suddenly refused. Sheila knew that if a mage relies on others to improve, their magical power won't be stable. That's why she turned down any help right then and there. And if the ancient god really wanted to help her, he should save his assistance for later. Those words convinced Aetius, and even facing the potential for trouble, he agreed. With blood, sweat, and tears, the determined sorceress was trying to reach the rank of intermediate mage, seeing no obstacles in her path. The power was so intense that it washed over the entire room, and the exhausted girl collapsed right into Aetius's arms. All her suffering wasn't for nothing. She instantly jumped from a 1-star intermediate mage to a 3-star intermediate mage. Sheila Lancaster had finally done it, reaching the highest level of intermediate mage. Now, only 1 star separates her from Daisy. She hit her limit and just face-planted, totally unconscious. Converting all that magic drained her dry. Aetius finally saw how hard she worked and gave his powerful mistress a warm kiss on the forehead while she slept. Sheila felt cold, but as soon as he touched her forehead, it got warmer. It felt so good, she loved it. Suddenly, she got the feeling she'd just made another contract. It's all about the egg. The girl doesn't know anything, but it looks like it's about to hatch. At that moment, the egg cracked, and a chick burst out with a screech, so happy to meet its mom and dad. Sheila and Aetius froze, trying to wrap their heads around the fact that they were now brand new parents. The chick was way too curious, and even started asking what kind of ahem business his mom and dad were up to. Noticing it was getting chilly, the ancient god put his jacket around the girl so she wouldn't freeze. Lady Lancaster, getting pissed, told the crowbrat to stop calling that young man that name. Even though they were making out, she insisted there was nothing going on between them. Things just got a whole lot more interesting. This girl's the keeper of an ancient deity. Taking one look at the newborn, Aetius figured he was just a plain old black crow. That really stung the little guy, and he yelled that he was way more than just a black crow. He was the Great Crow King. Aetius managed to dig up some info that the clan that used to rule all the beasts was the Black Crow clan. Clan members master all the skills, and then they get the power to transform into a massive dragon. Plus, the little crow can hurl a fireball, and he showed off his skills to his mom. His ambition is so huge, it's like he thinks he's some giant fire-breathing dragon. But the truth is, there wasn't even a spark, just a breadcrumb. The fireball that Crow spat out was supposed to be the size of a city, so he blamed his mom for being pathetically weak. Truth is, he's still a little guy, useless maybe, but so soft and fluffy. That's why Sheila decided to call him Fluffy. Meanwhile, meeting in the Duke's drawing room, the second prince noticed Miss Daisy's magical power had increased again. The guy's got a real eye for detail, and thanks to her father's help, she's managed to get her second top-tier star. Prince Arthur thinks she's crazy talented, unlike her loser sister. As Daisy sees it, her sister just needs to enjoy the family's riches, while it's time for her to take on the role of the next head. The Lancasters, led by her, will become stronger, and naturally, as family, the second prince will help her manage the dukedom in the future. The Duke's eldest daughter has no idea when Sheila will be back home. Nevertheless, Arthur's gonna stick around and wait for her, planning to break off the engagement today. To celebrate the contract, the young sorceress has prepared a gift for Asius. She bought something and left a gift inside the ring, handing it to the ancient deity. Suddenly, emotions flared in Asius's heart. How he loathed the people who'd caused her pain. When he awoke, even for a moment, he saw something that moved him. He saw her desperate and astonished face in the firelight. The second prince and the young lady had been waiting for Sheila, and finally, she returned home. The maids are eagerly anticipating today's spectacle. They say the second prince has come to break off the engagement. It's unheard of for an illegitimate daughter to marry into the imperial family. Before the meeting, Fluffy was curious about who this second prince was, if they were really engaged, and if he was as handsome as his older brother. Sheila was engaged to Arthur because Daisy was promised to the heir, the crown prince, the late queen's child. After the first emperor died of illness, he quickly remarried another woman. The current empress wants her son, the second prince, to marry a duchess, so the engagement to Sheila is just temporary. Daisy already broke off her engagement with the crown prince, so the empress and the second prince will want to replace her with Daisy. But Daisy isn't afraid of anything, and the second prince is quite the player with a ton of mistresses. Upon meeting, Prince Arthur decided not to beat around the bush and ordered the girl to sign the contract to end the engagement. Daisy tried to calm her sister down, but Sheila asked her not to make a scene. Without hesitation, she signed the contract, finally free from that two-faced jerk. Going forward, if they have no further questions, Sheila would really appreciate it if they both stayed out of her sight. Arthur was really ticked off that she was pulling these stunts just to get his attention. Defending his mom, Fluffy said that the prince wasn't worthy of her favor anyway. This rude bird really pissed Arthur off, so he demanded to know where it came from. Sheila just smirked when she heard that, barely turning to look at them. She told him to hurry up and make things official with his sister, or he'd miss his chance. Arthur tried to forget it, deciding to settle the score with that girl later. For now, he needed to chill. Soon, both sisters would be his. He said he was going to propose to the Duke in a formal setting, and he wouldn't let anyone mess with Daisy. But to the Duke's daughter, he was just a well-meaning fool. She wouldn't agree to an engagement without power and money involved. That evening, Sheila had a lot on her mind. The Duke's estate, the orphanage, the second prince, and the empress. Plus, in her past life, she'd gotten a glimpse of the duchy's income. Suddenly, it clicked for her, and she called for Cannon, saying they were gonna pull off 2 big scores today. While the patrols circled the second prince's grounds, Sheila waited for her moment and hid in the thick leaves of a tree. While they were talking about the prince and his situation, she slipped unnoticed into the palace. The gig she's talking about is stealing all the gold from that scumbag, and getting to it in his palace is gonna be a nightmare. Sheila's convinced he didn't earn any of that money fair and square, so it just needs to go back to the people it belongs to. Prince Arthur's so stoked he broke off the engagement with that illegitimate daughter. He's gonna buy the biggest diamond he can find tomorrow. He's planning on proposing to Daisy with it on her birthday, scoring the duchy's support in the bargain. Out in the sticks, a commoner family's down to their last copper coins. They won't be able to pay their taxes for the year. According to the Queen's new law, they gotta pay up every year, and if they don't, it's straight to jail. Their daughter went hungry today, but her mom promised to buy bread tomorrow. Like a bolt from the blue, a huge sack of gold lands in their lap, a chance to survive, right through their window. Not keeping a single cent for herself, Sheila Lancaster's giving the money back to the people, keeping her identity secret, like Robin Hood. She's torn about what to do with the second prince's money, and she'll feel like dirt if she takes it. A girl can always find another way to make a living if she has to. The Duke's donations to the orphanage ain't enough to feed these kids every day. The sisters are praying for God to have mercy and help them keep these kids fed. All of a sudden, Shui bursts into the temple, loaded with coins, saying a sister angel gave them to him. Turns out, there are bags of money all over the street, left by some angel. The kid's asking for new books. With this kind of cash, the sisters can get him anything he wants. Then, hidden amongst the coins, they find an envelope with a message and decide to read what's inside. As soon as the head sister learns the truth, she declares they gotta pack up the kids and get to a safe place. Now. Looks like Sheila's got a busy day ahead of her tomorrow. She's gotta take the entrance exam for the Magic Academy. After completing the task, She reported to the crown prince that she had done as he asked. The fact she only needed a day and a half piqued Li Yu's interest, so he decided to check it out himself. The magical weapon His Highness wanted repaired really did look brand new. Sheila decided to ask what he needed it for, and that's when the master asked her to call him Leo. The girl recognized the symbol from ancient books. It's a magical rune used on living creatures. Alchemy should only be used on objects. Using alchemy on living things is forbidden. It's a dark art. Willing to give the thing away because she believes in the prince, Miss Lancaster wants to know where he plans to use it. Right then, Leo destroyed the thing with one press. He just wanted to confirm she could actually make it. The crown prince had been trying to restore the magic weapon for 10 years, but he couldn't get anywhere without the light. Now he knows why. But first he wants to know if the girl knows why there are so few of its creators. Sheila had heard that many alchemists went insane and fell into the depths of something really bad. But the truth is, they were the ones who broke the rules, using people as guinea pigs. 20 years ago, when that whole mess came to light, the emperor declared war on the alchemists, and almost all of them were wiped out. Alchemy's been in decline ever since, practically dead. So now they call the new guys creators, to set them apart from the old guard. Sheila says that creators can only work with objects, no messing with living things. Come to think of it, she shouldn't know about His Highness's business. If he needs her later, then they can talk. About getting Sheila enrolled, Leo talked to the headmaster and found out she doesn't have to take the entrance exams, but she still needs to fill out an application and take a magic level test before she can start. No freaking way. An acceptance letter to the Magic Academy? This is the place Sheila's always dreamed of going. After that, Leo called his assistant to make sure no one finds out about Sheila's magic abilities. That way, she'll be safe until she gets into the academy, and then he's gonna make sure she's protected. The prince also sent one of his men to the Duke's coming-of-age ceremony a few days later. Leo's obviously worried about Sheila's safety, but he wants to take care of his younger brother first. The next day, the second prince found out that there wasn't a single gold coin left in the treasury. He immediately ordered a citywide search for the thief, and for them to be executed by beheading once caught. Just then, servants rushed into his chambers in a panic, bringing terrible news with them. Turns out something happened at the orphanage that His Highness and the Duke run. All the kids are gone. The director also put up a poster, accusing the Duke of embezzling the orphanage's funds. There's chaos in the streets, everyone knows. People are horrified, reading that the Duke and the second prince stole the money for themselves, and the director and deputy ran off. So the Duke ordered them to write that it had come to light that the orphanage director had fled with the money donated by the Duke. He ordered a search for them to be organized in the capital, neighboring towns and villages, leave no stone unturned, and punish everyone involved. But the big news is, the Duke wants everyone to know the boss lady's conscience got the better of her, and she took her own life. Daisy's 18th birthday is the event of the year, so we can't afford any screw-ups. Soon, the big day arrived. Everyone's celebrating Daisy coming of age, and the whole estate's decked out for the guests. Today, Daisy made a dress for her sister, so she wouldn't be bummed about the broken engagement and could enjoy the party. For important gatherings like these, her older sister always passed down her old clothes. When the other nobles saw Sheila, they knew she was wearing Daisy's hand-me-downs, so they laughed. But that's not happening anymore. Back then, she thought dresses were super expensive, so her dad and sister gave her used clothes to save money. People are real suckers, falling for anything to get what they want. Helpless Sheila was happy too back then. When she was a kid, her dad said something that stuck with her like a splinter, and she'll never forget it. He said if you give an animal advice and it actually listens, it's guaranteed to be happy. If he doesn't, he'll suffer and live a miserable life, so Duke Jared's here to help him out. But now Sheila understood. They weren't talking about sheep, they were talking about her and her sister. Her father treated them the same. His Holiness considers the eldest daughter of the Lancaster family one of the heirs who should shine today. He decided to skip the ceremony and just watch from the sidelines. On the way to the capital, Vivalina, the granddaughter of Marquis Campbell, said she couldn't stand Duchess Daisy more than anything. She has to go to the ceremony, since the counts and their families will bring their heirs. According to Marquis Campbell, this celebration is super important. It'll decide if the family can continue its legacy. At the banquet, everyone admired the Duke's beautiful daughter. They think she's a good person, plus she's got magic to boot. They say the eldest daughter reached the second star of a high-level mage. Her future's looking bright. She and Amy haven't seen each other since graduation. The Viscountess got her sister a beautiful pair of earrings. Daisy's gonna love this gift so much, She promised to help her sister with exams once school starts. Vivalina decided to steer clear of those two-faced ladies. They were making her skin crawl. But then, two princes showed up, and everyone took notice. It's rare to see both of them at the same party. The second prince is planning to propose to the birthday girl tonight, and he's hoping Li Yu won't try to win her back. The crown prince, though, is convinced that this guy has seriously bad taste, and his eyesight must be shot too. Still, to Arthur, Daisy, the noble duchess, is like a goddess, and he thinks that gross Sheila can't even compare. Sounds like he's talking about that girl who showed up at the banquet and blew everyone away with her beauty. The guests were all saying they'd never seen her before, guessing she must be a princess from these lands. When Sheila arrived, she apologized for being late, saying the maids didn't show her the way. Seeing that her sister wasn't wearing her old dress, Daisy was stunned. She thinks Sheila belongs in the shadows, under her spotlight. The guests recognize the Duke's illegitimate daughter, a bastard. But she grew up pretty, which is her only saving grace. Gossip, arguments, it all happens because Sheila exists. She used to be a coward, but now she's fearless. Praise, insults, it's all the same. Even their judgment means nothing to the girl. She was reborn in both body and soul, so everything's different now. Daisy was worried why her sister hadn't come, but now she's relieved. She's noticed the changes in her sister. Those earrings, a magical item, are worth a fortune, not to mention that expensive dress. Seeing that the Duke's youngest daughter arrived wearing expensive earrings, Amy decided to find out what gift she prepared for Daisy. Turns out, Sheila's going to give her gift after the celebration's over, and it'll be way more valuable than the earrings. It's finally time to start the birthday celebration. First things first, Duke Lancaster thanked everyone for coming. The coming-of-age ceremony in the duchy is a ritual dance to honor the ancestors. Looks like if Daisy gets named the next head of the house, the spotlight's gonna be on her, and she'll get crowned, you know, the symbol of the job. Out of nowhere, Aetius steps in, saying there's no way this girl can be recognized. He was using some kind of cloaking magic before he showed up. Sheila's the only one who can see him. And according to the big guy, her sister's carrying the life of two Lancasters, so the ancestors ain't gonna be cool with that. Truth is, Aetius enchanted his mistress's eyes with magic that can spot spirits nearby. Finding out Daisy offed some Lancaster folks, Sheila finally gets it. There are two spirits trapped inside her sister's body. The thing is, back in a past life, the ancestors chose Sheila. The only question is, did her sister plan the whole thing, and was their dad in on it? Right then and there, the crown, the symbol of the next Lancaster head, chose Miss Sheila's bright head. The magic surged. She felt it all over, and right in front of everyone, she became the heir to the family. The magical power that used to flow through my body like a liquid has now solidified into something hard. It's like a mineral, exactly like the source of magical power that Daisy and the second prince stole in our past life. Furious, the Duke declared the ceremony would proceed as planned. But no matter what, Sheila would never be the heir. With all resistance gone, Daisy's sure Lancaster will be hers. She can't let herself become a laughingstock. But the newly crowned heir knows exactly what her sister wants. And she doesn't really care who's in charge. They're still family, and right now, she's happy to give her sister a shot at being the heir. She'll even forge a magical weapon to help make the family even stronger. In that moment, Daisy can't even imagine what her sister is planning, but it's actually a gift from Sheila. So, she offered her older sister to kneel down so she could crown her. Instantly, spatial magic enveloped the entire area around them, creating a magical whirlwind. Okay, that's better. But Daisy's still racking her brain about how her sister knows spatial magic. Plus, if she's figured everything out, why is she still trying to hand the crown over to her older sister? Anyway, despite everyone's plans, the crown rejected Daisy right in front of all the guests. A million questions are flooding her mind. She thinks she's perfect, but Sheila, the chosen one, screwed everything up. The heroine decided to explain that she used to be confused too, but after learning what Daisy's really like, it all clicked. The Duke's youngest daughter is willing to give the family head the title because she's planning to wipe out the Lancaster family. And along with that, Sheila's going to put an end to her sister, who once led her to a cruel demise. Panicked, the Duke yelled that this doesn't sound anything like the apology his youngest daughter promised to give. However, the girl isn't even sure yet if she should be apologizing and not her father. When she turned 6, Jared sent people to bring her to the duchy. Sheila was dead wrong, thinking she'd found a family, people who cared about her. But in the end, her so-called father was just itching to use her. Hearing his daughter talk back to him like that, the Duke thought it was completely out of line. This is the last time Sheila calls him father, because Duke Lancaster doesn't deserve that title. After all, Jared and her mother gave her life, then dumped her in the mountains. According to him, her mother took her without permission, and he's been searching for her ever since, worried sick, doing everything for his little girl. Sheila ain't buying any of that sob story crap. She doesn't believe a single word and told her father to shut his yap. She's got nothing more to say. The Duke knows what he did, and she ain't got time to play family with him. She exposed the Lancasters' secret slush fund, and everyone found out the Duke and the second prince were skimming all the money from the orphanage. The youngest daughter of the Duke finally showed everyone who her father really is, and she thinks he's pushing up daisies soon. In her own little world inside the ring, Aetius told her to bail, saying a place like this ain't worth sticking around for. Wherever Sheila wants to go, he'll be right there with her. She figured as much, which is why she asked the ancient god to hand her a dagger in the first place. Once she had the weapon in her grip, the girl announced that everyone would witness something big at the ceremony today. Calling on the gods above and the demons below, she, the young sorceress Sheila, severed her blood ties with Duke Lancaster. She wouldn't have anything to do with anyone from the Duchy of Lancaster anymore. Like a symbol of her freedom from the family and the split in the Lancaster line, the sacred statue shattered. Confusion washed over the Duke's face, but there's no way he'd let his daughter leave Lancaster territory. But the Crown Prince blocked his path, reminding him that Sheila had already sworn a blood oath. Besides, the Duke still hasn't explained where all that money went, so Leo's sure he won't be getting off that easy. Meanwhile, sticking to her plan, Sheila climbed onto the arch and asked Fluffy to give her the lay of the land. The bird armies locked and loaded, ready to cover the boss's retreat. Suddenly, thick black smoke filled the air. Ancient magic, a dense fog, a way to vanish without a trace. Scared spitless, Duke Lancaster ordered his men to mobilize, capture Sheila, and stop her from fleeing Lancaster lands. The maid suggested the Duke's daughter return to her room, but Daisy's mind was consumed by her sister's rare magic. Now, no matter where Sheila is, that girl's definitely gonna take her out. The celebration wrapped up early. The Duke had business to handle, so the butler escorted the guests out. Next time, the Crown Prince will definitely ask Sheila to dance. They'll see each other at the academy. Who would have thought someone could put Daisy in her place? Viviana's gonna tell everyone at the academy about this. Sheila's dress is especially uncomfortable today, but she needs to see Fluffy ASAP. But Aetius is sure that little furball isn't even necessary. He himself could ensure his mistress a safe getaway. Sheila handled everything like a boss. God's probably bored out of his skull right now. The Duke's mages are hot on the trail of his second daughter, still hoping to drag her back home. But they can't force her. They gotta face facts. She's done being the Duke's little girl. This energy signature is definitely high-level magic, way beyond Daisy's capabilities. The Emperor's ordered the mages to bring the young lady back no matter what. Things are looking grim. Luckily, Sheila spotted Fluffy in the shady trees, and he told her to get out of there, fast. Looks like these are just some low-level magic critters. They won't stand a chance against those wizards. But for Fluffy, that's peanuts. The only thing that matters is keeping his mistress safe. On their commander's orders, the birds swarmed together and launched a massive, aerial assault. Fluffy ain't sweating it. Maybe they didn't take out the mages, but they sure as hell threw them off their game. The girl was so caught off guard by that move, she lost her grip and tumbled out of the tree. Luckily, Aetius had a feeling she was in trouble and came to help. Now they gotta book it out of here. He figures if they bail now, those guys hunting Sheila will definitely be back for her. Totally clueless about what's going on, the Duke's mages are frozen in place, like their feet are glued to the ground. This is the perfect chance to take care of these lowlifes who are messing with the ancient deity's plans. Sheila thought those guys were pretty fast, but when she looked back, she didn't see a single one of them. It hit her right away that Fuzzy must have taken care of them. It all worked out. Right now, the most important thing to Aetius is that his lady is safe. The enemy's retreated, so he's ready to go anywhere with her. Sheila got flustered by being so close and pulled away quick. She decided to head back to the academy. Fuzzy came back right about then, but the girl's looking off somewhere else. She just feels like this place is super familiar, like Sheila used to live around here as a kid. With the Duke's shady business exposed at the ceremony, the first prince is convinced they should have bounced sooner. He's not sweating the old fox, which is why he thinks the engagement with Sheila needs to happen. Arthur's planning to bring her back to Lancaster so she can inherit the head position. Eventually, it'll all be his, and honestly, he never realized how hot Sheila is. Wandering around this weird place, Aetius noticed some really faint traces of magic. It's a magic circle that keeps people out, and judging by the residual traces, it's probably over a decade old. The house where Sheila lived as a kid is actually here, deep in this mysterious forest. The place where she spent her childhood alone is imprinted with a specific smell, a feeling of overwhelming emptiness. Stepping inside, the girl noticed a photograph on the table, like it had been there forever. Her mom left her this little house. She lived here her whole childhood. Sheila didn't know what her mom looked like. She thought her dad had a picture, but this is the only one. Sometimes she wonders why they even brought her into the world, where her mom went, if she's even still alive. Is it true that she was a burden? That her mom just didn't want her? It's clear her mom loved her a lot. This house and the mountains around it are covered in layers of magical protection. Even an archmage would get lost and couldn't get in. This is some high-level magic, but the mage was probably weak back then. It's been over 10 years, but the magic is still here, so Sheila's mom definitely loves her. Now the girl finally gets it, and tears start welling up in her eyes from what she's heard. Aetius just held his breath. He's not really good at comforting people. But after thinking for a second, he said the moonlight was so beautiful, he couldn't resist asking her for a dance. The tears dried up instantly, and a smile lit up Sheila's face. It was the first time anyone had ever asked her to dance. Aetius considered it an honor that his mistress had finally left that place she hated so much. Feeling the god's cold body, the girl figured it was just because he was only a soul. Looking him in the eyes, she said she'd definitely get stronger, and then she'd bring him back to life. But the celestial being told her not to push herself too hard, just to do what she wanted. A gust of wind swept through the heroine's heart and into her soul. It was the wind of freedom. She was taking control of her life again. A star fell. It's a summer star, which means summer's officially here. On the first of every 3 months, a star lands, symbolizing the changing of the seasons. Suddenly, a magical dome surrounded them. Sheila knew right away it was a magic book. In her past life, that book was definitely in the Duke's collection. Plus, the first page was missing the entry congratulating Sheila on her 16th birthday. Duke Lancaster's already dispatched 5 archmages to retrieve Sheila. He says she's upset about Daisy. If they don't get along, we need a new strategy. The truth is, Daisy's planning to steal her sister's magic and absorb her power. Sheila's not a pushover right now, even though her magic level is still lower than Daisy's. Who knows what'll happen? In that case, the Duke's eldest daughter decided to head back to her room and practice. If the young master and mistress were still alive, today wouldn't be like this. Spring's here. Finally time to head to the academy Lady Lancaster always dreamed of. Wondering if her mom's still alive, she vowed to give it her all. Sheila doesn't know what really happened back then, why her mother left Lancaster, or where she ran off to, ultimately. This girl's got a thirst for knowledge, but right now, she needs to get moving. Aetius noticed she wasn't wearing his ring and ordered her to put it back on and keep it on. He's been out here too long, he's running on fumes, so now he's just floating. Sheila suggested he head back into the ring to recharge, but even as a spirit, the god's stubborn. He's worried some magical beast is gonna pop up on the road and swallow her whole. Sheila says she's not as helpless as she looks. Inside the ring, the Celestial can recover, then come back out. That actually made sense, so Aetius agreed to take a little break in the ring. Turns out, he wrote this book himself. It's got the basics of magic that Sheila should read. The size of a person's magic core is something they're born with, but the concentration of power improves as they grow. The width and strength of the magic core also determine the raw power of the magic they can hold. High rank doesn't mean squat if you're low on magic power. A lower-ranked mage can still kick your ass. All Sheila learned in magic class was that your magic level depends on the shape of your source. But it wasn't spelled out exactly, so this has got to be it. Last time, Sheila thought all she needed to do was absorb more magic, but looks like refining it is the better play. The last time she ranked up, she felt a cold touch on her forehead, soft and kinda sticky. Maybe it was Aetius, but the real question is why the heck he kissed her. And is he helping her too much? Girls really hoping he was just helping her improve. That's why the forehead kiss. Half a month later in Regali City, exam prep is in full swing. Sheila showed up, scared the Duke might send someone after his daughter on the way to the academy, and she wouldn't make it out alive. Suddenly, a shout cuts through the square. Some dude's claiming she's got no right to take the academy exams. With a sneer, the nobleman snatched her pass, claiming it was his now. Mr. Bard's the Empress's nephew, and he doesn't want some nobody like her studying with him. Desperate, the girl said she'd passed the test and earned the pass. The Imperial Academy was her dream. Quick as a flash, Fluffy grabbed the pass from the jerk's hands and loyally brought it to his owner. Sheila's got the pass now, so it belongs to her, fair and square. The guys thought this girl had totally lost it, threatening the emperor's nephew like that. But first and foremost, the girl's making sure Bard doesn't lay a finger on the little student. According to her, this city's for the Imperial Academy, and a scene could attract the attention of her teachers and the headmaster. Doesn't matter what his background is, anyone who passes the test can get in here. It's a joint decision by the headmaster and the emperor, and Sheila's sure this guy can't go against them. Bard thought that was total BS, so he decided to give that chick a piece of his mind. Anyway, disaster averted, and the little student finally thanked her savior. Sheila thought nothing of it, so she took her little sis to a cafe and told her to eat her fill. The student felt indebted to the beautiful girl for helping her get her pass back and even treating her to food. Turns out, Sheila knows that Shiliu passed the magic certification. She's a third-star junior mage at 12 years old. Daisy was only a second-star junior mage at that age, and she was using the duchy's resources too. They used to only accept nobles into the academy, but that system's being scrapped, and now nobles gotta take the exam. A lot of nobles are pissed that they have to compete with commoners, but only the small-minded ones think that way. Suddenly, Shiliu decided to ask why her sister wasn't afraid of that guy. Her pass was stolen, she was furious, but her arms and legs wouldn't listen, so she didn't know what to do. Sheila figures, putting the fear of God into him is one way to go. People only try to intimidate and threaten others because they're insecure. They want to be feared. Once you find their soft spot, they crumble like ice. In that little girl's eyes, Sheila's a total hero. When Shiliu grows up, she wants to be just like her. The admissions board at the Imperial Academy practically handed her a pass right away. A pass to the Imperial Academy, with all its resources and archives, for just 10 gold? Sheila knew it was a fake, so she didn't stick around. But among those getting offered passes, she spotted a familiar face. Definitely Andre. Suddenly, the guy whips out a camera and snaps a picture of the punk trying to sell him a pass. The act's been documented. If the kid keeps it up, Andre's gonna report him to the academy and the guards. The boss's face lit up when he saw Sheila. He was stoked. Leo told him she was coming to bail out their crafting department. Basically, she's their department's savior. Hearing that, the sorceress got a bad feeling. A week back, when the crafting department was on the verge of shutting down, Leo mentioned a new student showing up this semester. Only Leo, Bowen, and the boss knew Sheila was transferring there. Now, Andre decided to escort Milady to Bowen. He was nearby and in charge of student admissions. Bowen's in the School of Spirit Speech, and he's the student council president. Andre was happy to hand over the one Leo desperately needed. The girl introduced herself as Sheila and showed a letter of recommendation from the director. Turns out Leo talks about her all the time. Bowen was glad to finally meet her in person. One of the students griped that the new girl was getting in without exams, but the student council prez flashed a letter. Since nobody knows how she got that piece of paper, the student told her not to even dream of getting in without proof. Hearing that, some of the noble ladies chimed in, agreeing with her. Truth is, Sheila actually wanted to take the exam. She was curious about how it was run. So the noble lady suggested she just go take it, no fanfare, and told her not to expect any help from the upperclassmen. The student council president told them not to worry about it, because anyone Leo vouches for can't possibly fail. Since Essis is so confident, Sheila suggested they make a bet on whether she passes the exam or not. If the newbie passes, she gets 1,000 gold, but if she fails, she owes them 1,000 gold. One of the students suddenly wondered why Lemon's sister didn't have the newbie take the magic level test first. Thing is, she's the Daisy family's illegitimate daughter, so no wonder she's buddy-buddy with Senior Leo and always hanging around the two upperclassmen. And get this! Daisy was saying this morning that the Mudblood's just a mage apprentice, probably riding Leo's coattails. All right, everyone taking the test. Head into the exam hall in order and pick your magical item. The students' choices will affect their final grades, so they need to choose wisely. Plus, if a student passes, they get to keep the magical item. There's no way to know what's coming, and Sheila has no clue what the next trials will be. A quality magical item could come in handy, but she decided to pick what suited her best. Her eyes landed on what looked like a chunk of cobblestone. A decent piece, dense, solid, and lightweight too. But it's not just a rock like it seems at first glance. It's a real mineral. Sheila managed to change its shape, and the plasticity is no problem either. At the second exam location, you get to pick one of 6 trials, and they're all different. Some of these trials could be life-threatening, so if you want to bail, candidates, the way you came is the way back. Hearing they could actually die here freaked the students out, and they started thinking about turning back. Sheila's planning to hit the one all the way on the right. The symbols on them mean different stuff. The first 5 symbols are magic weapons, clairvoyance, a dungeon, spells, and healing. But she doesn't know what the last symbol means. They say it's a real tough challenge. In the last 10 years, only Daisy and Leo beat it, and Leo almost kicked the bucket in there. Since Daisy made it through, you know, headstrong Sheila's gonna pick that very door. The word around the observation deck is anyone who dares pick that trial is either a genius or a complete moron. If she's really that good, then the question is, why haven't we heard of her before? Her name's Sheila. The trial kicked off the second she stepped through the space-time portal. This trial's for one person only, so Fluffy had to stay outside. Right then, the connection with Sheila went dead. A barrier layer around the ring. Asius realized with horror that it was a soul barrier, a boundary that cuts the soul off from all contact with the outside world. She's plunged into the depths of her own mind. This illusion trial will expose her deepest, darkest fears. If she doesn't get out, she'll never open her eyes again. She'll be done for. Anger, hatred, a vicious rage, burning like crazy that won't die down. Can't be tamed, choking her to death. Her little sister, promising to always be there. A total fake and hypocrite. Her sister, who doesn't deserve mercy, burdening Sheila with suffering and pain, burning her body to a crisp. Everyone's darling Daisy, who wants to steal her magic, like she's everywhere. Sheila's imagined killing her 1,000,000 times, so doing it for real isn't so scary anymore. All this just so I can finally find some peace in my heart. My head's filled with revenge, and one thing's clear, it ain't enough. That girl's totally out of it. She's practically halfway to the other side. Lost in her nightmare fantasies, Sheila heard a voice, constantly calling out to her. The place where she ended up reeked of blood. A massive mountain of dead, rotting corpses. The stench of blood burns your eyes and nose, so strong you can't breathe, choking you out. The horrible sight and disgusting smell made Sheila puke. It's enough to drive anyone insane. Just then, Asius's voice came through. The girl was trapped inside a barrier, and he couldn't reach her soul. Now that Sheila's back with us, they can finally talk. Asius told her to listen up, find the brightest spot, and warned her she'd kick the bucket if she didn't get out of there. Squinting, the girl spotted it. The way out of the barrier she needed to smash. Thinking about how she wanted to live, well, Sheila unleashed her magic wand to shatter this place, and the light that flooded in instantly revealed all the memories of her life like a slideshow. Miss Lancaster's magic surged. That's the beauty of light magic. Every action fuels its growth. Maybe this is what she was brought back to life for. She'd never seen a sunrise so beautiful in her entire life. Asius offered to show her one every day. Even though he's just a ghost, his appearance has changed everything for the better. Sheila feels warmer now than she ever did in the duchy. She doesn't get what's happening, but thank God. The world's starting to look different. Seeing that pure radiance, the academy professors were speechless. It seemed impossible. Everyone wanted such a gifted prodigy in their faculty. It's up to fate to decide who gets her. The old gatekeeper told the girl to head to a specific room after the exam, so the instructors could assign her to a department. But the second Sheila walked in, it was like the academy's brain trust pounced on her like 3 starving jackals. Looks like old man Sue had already decided she was his and should join the spirit word department. The others tried to convince her to join the sorcery or divination departments, promising big scholarships and a familiar. But old Sue one-upped them, guaranteeing she'd rise to the level of Grand Mage and the title of greatest mage on Earth. He could also make an exception and let her read the ancient magical texts in the cathedral collection. Sheila actually preferred the creation department, but she appreciated the invitations. Since she'd made up her mind, old man Sue let her go. Turns out he was just building castles in the air. In that case, Teacher Carter kindly offered to escort the student to the creation department. Turns out, Mr. Carter is the dean of the healing department, and he doesn't teach any courses in the creation department. So Sheila decided to find out where her course instructor was. She doesn't think she's seen him around. Obviously, she's clueless. The dean of the creation department kicked the bucket 2 years ago. Ever since he passed, the department hasn't found anyone who gets the art of creation like he did. That's why a student from the department, Leo, is filling in for now. This is seriously bad news. Turns out, the creation department looks like some old, run-down haunted mansion. Even Fluffy noticed things are going from bad to worse. This can't keep up. The dorm being a dump is one thing, but Sheila had to fix a magical item that Leo couldn't. Realizing how messed up things were, the Crown Prince's first move was to calm her down. He handed her a gift set the academy preps for every freshman. Leo grabbed one for her. Still, she can't get over the fact that he lied. The prince didn't even mention he's a teacher when he asked for help. First, Leo tried the robe on her, pinned the creation faculty brooch, and bam! He saw how good she looked. Still, Sheila's not sure she wants to stick around. Whatever Leo's pulling with these young girls isn't working on her. That's when the prince confessed someone wants the creation faculty gone, and the dean didn't die, he vanished. Leo's still figuring out who's behind it, but he's only got a couple of leads. It's also tied to that magical item Sheila helped him fix. He just stumbled across it. These experiments using life force to create magical items, they never stopped. Before he disappeared, the dean told Leo about a client who wanted to isolate him for a project, but he refused. And Miss Lancaster, the purest creator with light magic on the whole continent, is gonna be his next target. He needs her at the faculty to keep it alive, and to buy himself some time. Sheila gets it, but she's scared Li Yu's gonna die. He burned alive in his past life, and that wasn't an accident. Truth is, the kid ain't scared of dying, but there's something he absolutely has to figure out first. What a coincidence. Someone wants the Crown Prince dead. Daisy wants her sister's power, and the Crown Prince died by Sheila's hand. Now that we know it's the Emperor, things just got complicated. At some point, those two teamed up. The heroine's real curious if the Duke of Lancaster and the second prince were involved in this whole mess. Leo's got a point. At least for now, it'll be safer for them if Sheila sticks around here. Word's out that some mudblood actually passed the exam, and it's reached the spirit word faculty. Looks like Daisy's figured something out, but she didn't think she'd have to take Sheila seriously. It was dumb of her to side with Daisy. She's gonna show her little sis just how dangerous the outside world can be. The Academy's noble ladies can't figure out what head prefect Bowen's getting at, talking to them about accepting Sheila. He's actually here to help Sheila collect what's owed to her. After all, he and Ning Ming made a bet. But since Ning Meng is denying everything as a witness, Bowen suggested settling this on the field. Despite Lemon's obvious hatred, Daisy ordered her to hand over the cash. The spirit word faculty is always fair and honest. They're ready to play and to lose honorably. Ning Meng gave up the money, muttering that none of the deans wanted Sheila in their faculty. Bowen didn't tell them that the newbie aced the toughest test, and 4 faculty deans were fighting over her. They say to climb to the top, the Duke's illegitimate daughter is willing to do anything, even, with her sister's fiancé. Hearing this, a student pointed out that Sheila passed the hardest exam, and the deans adore her. As the second-best applicant, Shilu doesn't get why they think no one wanted the girl in their faculty. Hearing this, the noble ladies decided that it was impossible because only Daisy passed that test. Sheila pulled the same stunt at the coming-of-age ceremony. Still, Ning Meng's convinced that the illegitimate kid started the rumor herself. Leo almost bought it during that trial. On top of that, she seduced her sister's fiancé, and now she's claiming she passed the illusion trial. Claiming that Shilu was protecting the mudblood, Ning Meng went at her with fists flying, but Bowen managed to stop her. The way he sees it, being a noble doesn't give her the right to bully others. They're all students now. But Lemon's sister told him not to be so heavy-handed, since nobles hate it when someone defends half-bloods. Just then, 2 ladies joined them. Turns out, they don't hear about stuff like that in the Lancaster Duchy. The headmaster told Vivian to deliver python dung to the spirit word faculty, and Yaya's here to deliver moongrass. It's no secret that the Lancasters' ancestors chose Sheila as their successor. Sheila didn't want to be the heir and ran away. Vivian figures the statue collapsed, because only Daisy was meant to be the family's heir. The thing is, there was an incident. During the coming-of-age ceremony, Daisy said they redid the ceremony later, and the ancestors chose her. She's the only heir to the family now. Sheila ended up crashing a celebration in the faculty dining hall, completely by accident. The guys threw a party to welcome her to the faculty and celebrate her taking first place. It was just a meal, but man, that day was a blast. That warmth and happiness only lasts a second. Sheila needs to remember why she's here. To get stronger until she's unstoppable. Daisy's definitely gonna make a move, so Sheila needs to figure out how to protect herself in the meantime. This is Mom's Magic Alchemy book. The first few pages explain the basic elements of the world. How to imbue objects with magic. How to break them down into elements while keeping their properties intact. After that, it's all formulas for different magical items and how to make them. Camera, VCR, magic lamp, magic pot, all household items. Back in her past life, Sheila was churning out all the magical trinkets that brought in the cash, and it all went to Daisy's education. Now she can't believe she actually did that crap. In the book, she spotted a magical item formula that wasn't there before. The Imperial Academy, a coastal city, springtime all year round, a place where three realms converge. It's become a place that divides the settlements of elves, mermaids, and humans. There are 5 main faculties at the Imperial Academy: spirit speech, sorcery, healing, divination, and creation. You can enroll in the academy from 12 to 20 years old, and those who reach the apprentice level participate in the graduation exam. In the illusion trial, Sheila Lancaster took first place among the applicants. When Ning Ming found out, she immediately told Daisy that a mudblood took first place on the exam. From the incident at the prince's palace to the coming-of-age ceremony, Sheila's been messing with her sister's plans every step of the way. Daisy can't wait for another chance. She needs to get rid of her right now. Maybe a dark force hasn't taken root in Daisy's heart yet, but it definitely will later, and Sheila will just keep getting better. Now Daisy's world has a problem named Sheila, whose light will pierce her and leave a wound that won't heal. In the Creation Faculty's classroom, Professor Leo demonstrated how to break down iron. First, you need to envelop the object's particles with magic, and then disassemble them. Then you just reform it, and you're done. Suddenly, Sheila interrupted the experiment and picked up the object, forming a new one that was way better than before. Aaron originally thought Leo's creation technique was super strong, but he didn't expect to find an even better master here. When Leo split the iron block, the magical power wasn't fully absorbed into the iron, so some of it fell apart. Plus, the particles were tainted during the disassembly process, so the girl suggested Senior Leo try again. He nailed it this time. Li Yu's got the lightning attribute, and this little knife is charged with lightning magic. But someone with the same attribute could put it to better use. Same as if you keep the spell's power at this stage. Like cloning, growing stuff, and other kinds of magic. And finally, changing the shape of an object. Then you could get a huge sword. Sheila told them to finish the rest on their own. The Academy encourages students from all faculties to audit each other's classes, but some faculties just don't get along. Each faculty has its own class, which is split into 3 levels. High-level mages study directly under the deans. They say Sheila drops in on classes for every faculty, so people think the Creation faculty has fewer courses. In the morning, it's Spirit Word and Summoning faculty classes, then Healing and Divination in the afternoon. Evenings for studying in the library, then back to the dorm to cram Mom's spellbook and review the curriculum. Daisy's little doggies came looking for Sheila a few times during all that, but you can avoid them by sticking to deserted areas. But she's rusty, so she's been hitting the arena on weekends to get back in shape. The Masked Witch won again. Nobody knows who she is. She showed up 2 weeks ago and has already won 100 rounds. Daisy needs to make a move, or Sheila's gonna strike first. She'll be judged for what she's done soon enough. Her reckoning is coming. As per the Queen's arrangement, Daisy was engaged to the second prince, offering his hand in marriage. Arthur promised to cherish her for life. Daisy's touched by the second prince's affection. She's engaged to the Queen's son, just like they planned. Everyone's scared of the illusion trial. No one's betting they'll survive seeing what's inside her. Just then, the Queen received some terrible news about her son. Turns out, his sister told him it was a mistake, that it would ruin him, so he had to get rid of it. His sister actually called it a sin, but she never imagined he'd stoop this low. But now he and his brother are on the same playing field. The whole family can see them as equals, competing for the crown. The Queen was horrified. She couldn't believe she could give birth to someone like her. Soon, given Her Majesty's condition, she and her husband couldn't have any more kids. But for a royal daughter, that's just what happens to the losers. As long as she can become the head of the family, brothers, sisters, blood relatives, they're all just stepping stones. Happiness arrived when Daisy Lancaster passed the illusion trial. Sheila was one of the first to congratulate her sister. Everyone knows her as the #1 freshman. She was also chosen by the family's ancestors. She inherited the position of head of Lancaster. It all felt so real, right before Daisy jolted awake in terror. This reality's a drag for her, but she's gotta marry the second prince, like, tomorrow. Sheila found out from a classmate in the library about the Academy's winter solstice ball. Truth is, she ain't planning on asking anyone. She couldn't care less about the dance. Right after she said that, she saw this huge bouquet of red roses next to her, begging her not to talk like that. Crown Prince Arthur actually asked Sheila to the upcoming ball. He said not to sweat Daisy. They're just engaged. But there's always room in his heart for Sheila. All she has to do is say yes, and Arthur will be super nice to her. This dude's a total joke, saying he'll be nice even after the wedding, puckering up his lying lips. Perfect timing. Fluffy Butt stuck his rear out for a kiss, and Arthur immediately caught a whiff of something funky. The Raven took it as a compliment. He'd just relieved himself. Humiliated like that, the second prince ran off crying, and Sheila was about to slap him silly after Fluffy was done with him. The second prince's outburst drew the attention of other people. After all, his mom's the current empress. The crown prince isn't making any moves, and Sheila can't tell if he's just defenseless or ready to live in this kind of environment. Daisy's mother was born into the great Russell family, and the current queen is also a descendant of the Russells. So, Arthur has armed forces and power. But either way, out of the two emperors, only the elder can ascend the throne. With a heavy sigh, the heroine decided to find out if there was an optics teacher at the academy. She'd never been able to use her magic to solve even a middling problem. Come to think of it, the student knows one teacher, and she's not just a teacher, she's also the director of the academy. Anyway, the next day, Sheila decided to go to the crown prince and find out what he was thinking right now. If he's not in the mood to fight, then someone needs to give him a kick in the pants. Meanwhile, Li Yu was sweating bullets, practicing the speech he'd use to ask Sheila to the ball. He decided to say it would be a huge honor if he could be her escort for the evening. Just then, Miss Lancaster walked into his office and froze, totally bewildered. Luckily, they didn't dwell on it, and Leon invited her in, offering her some tea. Seeing the bouquet of red roses, Sheila figured the second prince had stopped by too. He'd given her the same thing yesterday. Hearing that, Li Yu was speechless. The last thing he wanted was to hear that she still had a thing for the second prince. That pissed her off, because that was the furthest thing from her mind. Anyway, she was there to talk about something important and ask Mr. Leo to fight for the heir position.